Back to Crisis Report. It is April 29th, 2025. We got a good amount here. We got some major things going on. I think I'm going to stop just calling this Crisis Report in my titles. I actually think I'll end with that. I think it's like you're on the Crisis Report. Why do I need a crisis? I'm trying to tweak some things because of recent developments. And I think that's one of them. I just need to go back to just regular old titles and then give a date or something like that. So this is a crisis report for April 29, 2025. But this is literally entitled 24 to 36 hours until war. And that is the question because of a lot of things that are going on between India and Pakistan. A lot of rhetoric, a lot of threats. A lot of problems. So they're saying Pakistan is saying that India is going to attack in 24 to 36 hours. And that was hours ago. So we're looking at probably 24 hours. Like they've talked to the UN. They've talked to regional partners. So this thing could get rolling here pretty soon. India is aggravated. And the other thing is, you have to understand, India is now on the world stage. You know, it started as a backwater that was owned by the British 100 years ago, and now it's on the world stage. It's a major player. And it's like you're in a cafeteria, and the one kid hits the other kid in the back with the lunch pan or whatever. And the kid turns around and they're like, what are you going to do about it? That's kind of where we're at. So a lot of people think they're going to strike back. They're going to strike. And this is going to cause a potential war between Pakistan and India. Pakistan and India don't like each other. Pakistan and India have a long history of not liking each other. They used to be part of the same thing, and they broke up. A lot of problems. They're both nuclear powers. A lot of problems. A lot of problems. So it's going to be interesting to see. But we're going to cover it all here on the Crisis Report like we do. Most comprehensive news on YouTube. So what I will say is this. If you could please hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, and share all this out. Please tell people about what we're doing here. I'm doing my best, and there are pressures, and we will leave it at that. So anything you can do to keep the lights on is good. Play a video, hang out, tell your friends, whatever. Okay? Just glad you're here. So let's get started on the most comprehensive news on YouTube for the Crisis Report. It is April 29th, 2025. Here we go. Oh, what's that? Please, someone like that, by the way, because it was a number that Lewis Cipher really likes. So earlier today, I was like, whoa, there you go. No, that's okay. We know who's in. Yep, that's okay. All right, here we go. Judicial Watch files a new lawsuit demanding the release of Epstein files, accusing the Department of Justice of stonewalling. Mark Carney's Liberals have regained power in Canada, securing enough seats in the 45th federal election to form another government. Spain's High Court is launching an investigation into the blackout to determine whether a cyber attack on critical infrastructure may have been the cause. We actually went over on PrepperNow. I went live earlier, and we laid it all out. They have the official release. We talked about the first 10 minutes of the video, if you want to go over and check that out, of everything that happened, and not a cyber attack, which is good. Virginia Jeffrey's father denies her death was a self-harm and is demanding a full independent investigation. Mark Carney elected Canada's next prime minister. Carney's Liberals win enough seats in Canada's 45th federal election to maintain control. Carney is unique with minimal political experience and a strong background in global central banking, having served as the former head of the Bank of England. He is also a staunch advocate for the net zero agenda. Spain, blackout. All fingers point to a spike of solar power in the grid. Red Electrica warned about the risks of this associated with renewable energy back in February. According to multiple media reports, the United States military has lost 7 multi-million-dollar drones in the Yemen area since March, resulting in losses exceeding $200 million for the Pentagon this month. Each drone is valued at approximately $30 million. Porsche says it will definitely raise prices in the United States if tariffs remain in place. That sucks. I was going to go buy a Porsche too. While Europe is destroying its economy by closing nuclear reactors, China approves 10 new nuclear reactors, $27 billion investment. 30 reactors under construction that will massively boost production and economy, according to Reuters. Yemeni armed forces have confirmed an attack on the USS Harry S. Truman aircraft carrier yesterday using missiles and drones, forcing it to retreat to the far north of the Red Sea. Likely that this same attack caused the loss of a U.S. Navy FA-18 Super Hornet, which occurred after the carrier made a sharp turn to avoid fire. A tow tractor was also lost and a sailor was injured. Additionally, they announced an attack on Ashkelon using drones. U.S. aircraft losses, including 22 MQ-9 Reaper UAVs and 2 FA-18 Super Hornet jets, amount to at least $860 million since the start of the American aggression against Yemen. Another large explosion today at a military factory in Isfahan, Iran. America can no longer subsidize Canada with the hundreds of billions of dollars a year that we have to do spending in the past. Makes no sense unless Canada is a state. Conspiracy theory expressed over on the PrepperNow live stream. I think Trump did it on purpose because he wanted Canada to have Carney as their prime minister. So Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba would all secede and join us. I could be wrong. UK and EU outline new strategic partnership to boost trade security. The UK and EU have outlined a new strategic partnership aimed at bolstering trade and presenting united European front in Ukraine in defiance of Donald Trump's threat to upend decades of transatlantic alignment. Defense and security pact that would see closer cooperation on Ukraine is top of the shopping list, along with migration, which is a hot topic on both sides of the channel. Houthi attack campaign against U.S. Navy. Houthis used a complex strike package combining ballistic and cruise missiles and drones to force USS Harry S. Truman to take evasive actions. U.S. nuclear talks with Iran. Western media reported that April 26, U.S.-Iran talks with Oman ended in a major disagreement despite repeated positive messaging from senior Iranian and U.S. officials. One of the key disputes is reportedly over whether a final agreement should address the Iranian missile program. Iran's unwillingness to make concessions on its missile program may risk collapsing the talks or pushing negotiations toward a deal less expansive than the deal U.S. President Donald Trump reportedly desires. Chemical explosion in Iran. Large-scale explosion occurred at Shahid Rajeh port in Bandar Abbas. April 26, Western media reported that the blast was caused by an explosion of chemical precursor for solid missile propellant. Loss of a large amount of key chemical precursor for Iranian missiles may further delay Iran's ability to rebuild its intermediate range solid fuel ballistic missile stocks after Israeli strikes damaged key production sites in October 2024. China delivered the same precursor to Bandar Abbas earlier this year. These chemicals further illustrate how China-based entities have likely helped Iran replenish its missile stockpile and restore key aspects of its defense capabilities. White House says even Supreme Court justices may be arrested if they are harboring illegals. Spain hits first weekday of 100% renewable power on national grid. Spain's grid ran entirely on renewable energy for the first time on April 16th. Wind, solar, and hydro meeting all peninsular electricity demand during a weekday. 5 days later, solar set a new record, generating 20.120 megawatts of instantaneous power, covering 78.6% of demand and 61.5% of the grid. Isn't that great? Less than 2 weeks later, the Iberian Peninsula suffered a widespread blackout, leaving Portugal, Spain, as well as southern parts of France without electricity for up to 10 hours. Disruption was likely caused by a loss of solar power generation in southern Spain. Grid self-stabilized according to reports before suffering from another loss of power generation moments before the Spain-France transmission line was interrupted due to grid instability. Another massive loss of renewable power followed immediately thereafter, causing cascading failures of the power grid. Conservative Party leader Pierre Palestine, won't be saying his name much longer, lost his Ottawa seat. Yes, Conservative Party leader Pierre Poli has been defeated in Carleton, ending his nearly 2-decade tenure as a member of the parliament in the Ottawa area riding. Result is certain to ignite questions over Poilievre's future as a leader on a night that saw the Conservatives increase their seat count and vote share, but finish second to the Liberal Party. To my fellow Conservatives, we have much to celebrate tonight. We have gained well over 20 seats. We got the highest share. The vote our party has received since 1988, but he didn't win. Canadians over 60 ranked reducing the cost of living, making Canada a better place to live, housing affordability, all is less important than Orange Man bad. 18 to 29 are smart and went the other way. India is considering closing its airspace for Pakistan civilian airlines. This is where the India-Pakistan stuff comes. This is the juice. This is all the stuff, the war, the meat, all the stuff that you want to know. Here's going to give you the doom. Here we go. India is considering closing its airspace for Pakistan civil airlines, additionally banning Pakistani ships to dock at Indian ports. 48 tourist destinations were closed in Kashmir after intel on more terror attacks. India is closely monitoring if there are any movements on the Indo-China border of the line of control. Oh, wait, that would be the line of actual control. Yep, that's Indochina. Sorry. There's the LOC and the LAC. Line of control is the one in the northwest with Pakistan. The line of actual control is the one with China. Multiple simultaneously operations are going on to gun down terrorists at various locations in Kashmir. They're going deep. India has banned Pakistan's defense minister's Twitter account in India. Complete power restoration in Spain could take about a week. Still not there, but close. Indian Prime Minister will chair a second security cabinet meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m., according to Indian news channels. Additional visuals of Russian and North Korean troops training together in the Kursk region. First video showed both Russian and North Korean troops training in urban combat. Second video showed training for the North Koreans to tackle drones. Shotgun training. Maida Vale power substation is reportedly on fire in London. Comes after blackouts in Spain, Portugal, and parts of France. Sistine Chapel is being cleansed before the preparation of the conclave. So there's a C in there. That should be right. Multiple ceasefire violations reported on the LOC right now between India and Pakistan. Pakistan is preparing international legal action over India's suspension of a key river water sharing treaty, government minister told Reuters. India can starve us. Farmers in Pakistan decry suspension of crucial water treaty. Indian Prime Minister expressed faith and confidence in the ability of the Indian military in responding to this threat, gave them complete operational freedom to decide on the mode, targets, and timing of their response, according to NDTV. Israel is preparing to expand its military operation in Gaza, calls up a significant number of reservists. Convoy of Israel's prime minister is involved in a car accident in Jerusalem near the prime minister's office. He was fine, a little dust up. India has rapidly deployed high-frequency jamming systems to disrupt global navigation satellite systems, or GNSS, signals, including GPS, GLONASS, or GLONASS, and BEIDO, with aims to degrade Pakistan's situational awareness, navigation, and precision-guided munitions capability. Britain's electricity grid operator is investigating unexplained power plant failures that hit the UK's system just hours before the Spain one and Portugal were both plunged into blackouts. League of Arab States has strongly condemned the deadly Pahalgam attack in Jammu and Kashmir. Secretary General Ahmed Abulgate, saying that the League expresses solidarity with the friendly nation of India as it mourns the loss of lives of innocent civilians. India informs the UN of its plan to take military action against terrorists, their handlers, and their backers. That is what I'm talking about as kind of going on with officialdom, if you will, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expresses deep concerns at rising tensions between India and Pakistan. Pakistan violated the ceasefire in Pargwal on the international border in Jammu's Akhnur sector. Indian Army was retaliating. First time, Pakistan violated the ceasefire on the international border after the Pahalgam terrorist attack. Pakistani Prime Minister urged the UN chief to counsel India to exercise restraint in a statement. UK government called for calm and dialogue between India and Pakistan at a time of heightened tensions in the region following the horrific terrorist attack in Pahalgam. U.S. is asking other countries to help mediate between India and Pakistan, help avoid an escalation. 49 U.S. raids tonight on Houthi sites in 6 governments, according to Al Arabiya. Britain's electricity grid operators investigating unexplained power plant failure that disrupted the UK system just hours before the widespread blackouts struck Spain and Portugal. FBI, under orders from Director Kash Patel, is now using polygraph tests on staff to track down the source of leaks to the media. President Trump promises American astronauts will plant the U.S. flag on Mars. Canadian poll finds that over 60s and over were most likely to vote based on the dislike of Trump. Chinese People's Liberation Army, Air Force, or PLAAF, John Y20 Kunpeng Chubby Girl Pinyin has landed into Beirut. Pinyin is the Chinese to English, whatever. Capital of Lebanon via Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, after traveling from an unknown, unspecified location. This marks the first time ever that Communist Chinese military plane ever landed in Lebanon. Ongoing active shooter event near Uppsala, Sweden. Police are searching for a shooter who apparently fled on an electric scooter. Special caucuses Special Caucus of Alberta Conservative Government announced amid future discussion on the province's constitutional future. Indian observers claim that Indian Air Force warplanes are conducting recon sorties across the Kashmir line of control. It's the LOC. An international boundary on Indian side following the sixth night of border clashes. Canadians over 60 ranked reducing the cost of living, making Canada a better place to live, and housing affordability is less important than dealing with Orange Man bad at the ballot box, while those aged 18 to 29 prioritize the others. Armed groups are targeting the Druge village of Aldur in western Sueda countryside with mortar shells, live gunfire. Amid clashes between Syrian forces and Druze factions in Syria, Sheikh Mawafik Tarif, spiritual leader of the Druze community in Israel, met today with IDF's Northern Command Major General Ori Gordon. Any attack, even if it harms a single nail or hair on a Druze man or woman, can certainly lead to serious and dire consequences. There will be no security in Syria if the rights of the Druze sect are not guaranteed and its dignity and safety are not preserved. We also held an emergency security meeting with the commander of the Northern Command to discuss latest developments, Tarif said in a statement. Citibank, used by 200 million Americans, was hit by a nationwide outage earlier. Secretary Kristi Noem says that they're in a partnership with Doge. ICE arrested 2 Ukrainian nationals for illegally voting in 2024. Rubio warns U.S. will end mediation unless concrete proposals from Russia, Ukraine, according to a spokesperson. Trump administration told Congress it plans to label Haitians and their gangs as foreign terror organizations. Wisconsin Supreme Court suspends Hannah Dugan, Milwaukee judge accused of helping a man evade immigration authorities. Buoy barriers have been used along the southern border, may also be deployed along the U.S.-Canada border, according to News Nations, but it's, stopping the people. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ordered steps to be taken to accelerate the arming of Navy vessels and nuclear weapons. Wonderful. In response to the terror attack in Kashmir, India began to demolish illegal mosques. Look at Belarus. This, according to Zelensky. This summer, Russia is preparing something there under the guise of military exercises. This is how its new attacks usually begin. But where this time? I don't know. Ukraine? Lithuania? Poland? God forbid, but we all have to do to be ready. All our institutions are open to cooperation. Full televised statement by Pakistan's Minister of Information said that India intends to carry out a military attack against Pakistan within the next 24 to 36 hours, using the false pretext of the Pahalgam attack in Kashmir. India refuses to participate in an open and transparent investigation and has instead chosen the path of confrontation. India will bear full responsibility for the catastrophic consequences this will carry in the region. Pakistan will respond forcefully and decisively, one would hope. Friends, that is your crisis report tonight. Please hit that like button, darken out the bell, get the notifications, and come on back tomorrow and check it out again. Till then, thank you so much for being here. We're going to cut off the lights, go to bed. Please, Stack Stock, stick to the plan. Keep your head in the swimming powder dry. And just have a good day. Okay? God bless, friends. We'll see you on the next one.